China digging a 200-kilometer-long canal 3 times the size of the Panama Canal to connect a lake to the ocean? Surely you have heard of the Panama Canal, the world's busiest maritime artery. This canal connects 180 routes, reaching 170 countries through 1,920 ports, transporting goods worth up to $270 billion United States dollars each year. Notably, 70% of the goods passing through here are related to the U.S., from point of origin to destination. Moreover, it is also a vital water source for 2.5 million Panamanians. But in 2024, a severe drought caused everything to falter. Temperatures soared, rain dried up, and the canal's water level dropped to an unprecedented low. The consequences: ships were congested, shipping costs doubled, and concerns about the canal's future were growing. In the meantime, if an alternative canal is built, don't be surprised if China, the second largest customer after the US, is behind it. This country of 1 billion people once had an ambitious plan to build a canal more than 200 kilometers long through Central America, dividing Lake Nicaragua, the largest freshwater lake in the region, to connect the Pacific and Atlantic Oceans. This giant project not only threatens Panama's position, but also makes the U.S. hot. President Donald Trump, in his recent inauguration speech, declared firmly he will reclaim the Panama Canal, not let it fall into the hands of China. So what is the factor that makes Beijing a threat to Mr. Trump's Panama chess game? In fact, the United States played a key role in shaping the Panama Canal. In 1914, after more than a decade of construction, the United States completed the 82 km long canal, connecting the Pacific and Atlantic Oceans, ushering in a golden age of global shipping. 4 decades afterward, Washington took control of the canal, turning it into a symbol of economic and military power. But this also marked a rift with Panama, a young republic. Panamanians became increasingly dissatisfied with the country being divided by U.S. special economic zones and accusations of U.S. interference in local elections. Under pressure, the United States finally returned the canal to Panama in 1999, with the Panama Canal Authority taking over the vital waterway. But the story doesn't end there. In December 2024, President Donald Trump unexpectedly announced that the United States could reclaim the Panama Canal completely and without question. He called President Carter's 1977 treaty absurd, arguing that it cost the United States a strategic asset. Trump insisted that only Panama, not China or any other power, should operate the canal. He accused Panama of ripping off American ships with exorbitant fees, threatening to take back the canal if it did not get a discount. Moreover, Trump vowed not to let bad guys, a reference to China, get involved. His concerns are not unfounded. China, with its ambitions to expand its influence, is eyeing the Panama Canal, making it difficult for the United States to sit idly by. Dear friends, what many people may not know is that China is quietly expanding its influence in the Panama Canal, the world's most important waterway. Currently, CK Hutchison, a Hong Kong-based company, controls 2 of the 5 major ports near the canal. Furthermore, a joint venture between China Harbor Engineering Company and China Communications Construction Company won the bid to build a $1.4 billion bridge across the canal, helping to ease congestion in Panama City. Meanwhile, COSCO Shipping, a giant Chinese shipping group, is the canal's largest customer, with nearly 300 cargo ships passing through each year. Last year, a Chinese-built cruise terminal was inaugurated, and Hua maintains a strong presence in Panama's free trade zones. Beijing's influence has skyrocketed since 2017, when Panama joined the Belt and Road Initiative, paving the way for a series of Chinese-funded infrastructure projects. But recently, under pressure from the U.S., Panama withdrew from the partnership. Washington's top diplomat warned that if Panama does not reduce China's influence, it could face retaliation. China scored a major blow in 2017 when Panama severed ties with Taiwan to recognize Beijing. According to the American Enterprise Institute, between 2005 and 2020, China poured at least $2.25 billion into Panama, mostly for infrastructure. Hua began operating there in 2008, and Chinese companies are also planning to build a 450 km railway connecting Panama City to David, near the Costa Rican border. China's growing presence has worried the West. In 2018, the U.S. objected to plans to build a Chinese embassy at the mouth of the canal. By the end of January 2025, Senator Ted Cruz warned, the $1.3 billion bridge built by China could give Beijing control of container ports at both ends of the canal, threatening U.S. national security. So can this giant project replace or overshadow the Panama Canal? Let's analyze to find the answer. The controversial competitor to the Panama Canal has arrived. Imagine a supergiant canal, 3 times the size of the Panama Canal, that was planned in Nicaragua in 2013. That is the Nicaragua Canal, an ambitious project to connect the Caribbean Sea in the Atlantic with the Pacific Ocean through Lake Nicaragua, the largest freshwater lake in Central America. At 276 kilometers long, 280 m wide, and costing $50 billion, the canal promises to allow 5,000 super heavy ships, up to 250,000 tons, to pass through each year, twice the capacity of Panama. It will also include 2 seaports, an airport, 2 locks, a free trade zone, and a tourist area. Sounds grand, but the reality is not simple. The US had wanted to build this canal since the 20th century, willing to spend $3 million United States dollars, a fortune at that time, to control it, but leader Augusto Cesar Sandino strongly opposed, not wanting the country to fall into foreign hands. In 2012, Nicaragua cooperated with 2 Dutch companies to study the feasibility, but in the end, the Hong Kong Nicaragua Canal Development Company, HK&D, a little-known Chinese company, won the contract, enjoying the profits of managing the canal for 50 years, even with the possibility of extending it for another 50 years. Nicaragua, the second poorest country in the Western Hemisphere, with a GDP per capita of only $8,137 United States dollars, expected the project to increase GDP by 15% and create 40,000 jobs. But the price was not small. 120,000 people were forcibly relocated, land was confiscated, and thousands protested after the groundbreaking ceremony in 2014. Moreover, experts feared that Lake Nicaragua would dry up, water pollution, and ecosystems would be destroyed by dredging for large ships. 52% of the project would pass through the land of indigenous tribes such as the Mosquito and Rama, threatening their culture and livelihoods. Even jaguars would be divided. At its peak, in 2019, 3 farmer leaders were sentenced to a total of 585 years in prison for protesting. Finally, the project was almost frozen after Wang Jing, the Chinese billionaire behind HK&D, lost 85% of his assets in the 2015 stock market crash. But China has not given up. The second project that emerged, the Kra Canal in Thailand, 102 kilometers long, 25 m deep, 400 m wide, costing $28 billion, connecting the Indian Ocean to the Gulf of Thailand. If completed, this would be the largest man-made canal in Asia, shortening the journey of oil tankers from the Middle East by 1,200 kilometers, reducing dependence on the piracy-prone Strait of Malacca. This canal not only brings economic benefits to Thailand but is also a strategic move by China to avoid blockade of maritime transport routes. However, Thailand is concerned that the canal will cut the south into an already unstable region, and the decision to build it is in the hands of the king, not the government. In addition, Mexico has also entered the race with the Interoceanic Corridor, inaugurated on December 22, 2023. The 303 km railway connecting the Pacific port of Salina Cruz with Coatzacoalcos on the Gulf of Mexico, costing $2.85 billion, is expected to transport 33 million tons of cargo per year by 2033. Although President Andrés Manuel López Obrador insists it is not competing with Panama, it is still a potential alternative, taking advantage of the US's position as the largest trading partner. So is the Panama Canal threatened? Panama has expanded the canal to accommodate super large ships, handling 63.2 million tons of cargo in 2022. Meanwhile, Nicaragua has failed, CRA is still in dispute, and Mexico is only a railway. China, despite its ambitions, has not yet surpassed Panama, but with its growing influence in the region, from ports, bridges, to infrastructure, will Beijing continue to be a concern for the US? and Panama in the future? The answer remains open. What do you think about what the country of a billion people is doing? Leave your opinion in the comments section to share with Explore the World and everyone. Thank you for accompanying us until the last moment. Now, goodbye and see you again in the upcoming exciting videos. Goodbye, bye-bye.